Yep. Before we get into the games, we've been playing the Cronulla song that they sang in the dressing sheds after the game, and it's "I Won't Back Down."
Right.
And Matt from Port Macquarie asked this question: didn't the Melbourne Storm run out to "I Won't Back Down" in the early 2000s? Can someone confirm this?
Ooh.
Is that true? The
Listen.
Tom Petty song.
Early 2000s. Well, listen. I only played. I made my debut in 2002, so it may have been prior to that. Because I think all of my time, it was
You
always
can't remember it?
Thunderstruck.
Yep.
Yes.
Oh, it's been that all that time, has it?
Yeah.
Good pump up.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Good pump up.
It may have
Okay,
been
okay.
though. That's a long time ago, fellas.
Okay, who impressed you more, Cronulla or the Roosters, Cameron? Let's get straight to the
Yeah. Okay.
right to the point. Who
I-
impressed you more out of Cronulla and the Roosters?
I'm going to go the Roosters. I thought they were super on the weekend, and some of the best footy we've seen them play in a little bit. I know people thinking about their performance against Penrith, leading into that match against Manly, thinking, well, this is going to be a pretty even contest. But I think they learned a big lesson from that first week of finals against Penrith. They really, I don't think they come ready to play, it's strange me saying that, right, and hearing that, but I just don't think they were prepared. They didn't make the step up in that first 40 minutes against Penrith, and they got washed off the field. They picked their act up in the second half and were a lot better. But the other night, that was a clinic in finals football, and they put themselves in a really good position now to go down to Melbourne and give himself a chance of progressing through to a grand final. I know a lot of people were saying after week one, well, can we just skip past the next couple of weeks? It's Penrith and Storm for the grand final this year. But if the Roosters can go down there and play with that same intensity and the same type of discipline that they showed the other night, well, they give themselves an opportunity to try and to beat Melbourne.
Okay, so if the Roosters were the most impressive, who was the most disappointing over the weekend?
Ooh, look, I'll say Cowboys. Yeah,
Yes.
I'll say Cowboys.
Yeah.
I'll say Cowboys. I think Manly. You could forgive Manly, right? They lose two guys straight up in the opening two matches. Two tackles. So Tolu Kola goes down. He doesn't return. He's been a strong performer.
Crazy start,
mate. Crazy start. It reminded me of the decider in Brisbane. What was that? Maybe a couple of years ago. Remember, like both teams lost players to HIAs very early in the piece. But
game was that game 3? Yeah,
game 3, 22, was it?
Yep.
3 players,
Selwyn
wasn't it?
Cobbo.
Yeah.
Three
Cobbo,
players
Collins,
immediately.
Cameron
first
Murray?
5.
Cameron Murray, was that one of them too?
Yeah, Isaiah Yeo.
Yep. Cam Murray. Don't know if it was Yo. Certainly Cobbo and Murray.
Yeah.
Someone else won. Yep.
So it was a disastrous start for Manly, but I just think that given the 6-day turnaround, the game that they played against the Bulldogs, they did extremely well to beat the Bulldogs. Right? They shouldn't have, given the way the Dogs played. They were the better side for pretty much the entire game, and they had to come up with a top shelf play at the end to win it. So it was always going to be a challenge for Manly. I just thought the Cowboys. There was a great opportunity for them to go down and play well and win that one, but they just, they weren't at their best. They were nowhere near at their best, and that was the concern I had for the Cowboys going into that match against the Sharks, fellas. Was that so? If you actually
You didn't trust them.
well,
You didn't trust them.
Well, it's been hard to do that all season.
You just can't pick them. You couldn't pick them all year. They look so good at times, but they were a side that was beaten by big scores too throughout the year, and you just wondered, what you were going to get with the Cowboys.
Yeah.
But it was pretty disappointing.
Well, because if you look back to the week before, right? So that they're playing at home, huge advantage playing, in Townsville, making Newcastle had to travel all the way up there, and if you actually break down that game. And the way that Newcastle performed, they started really well, Newcastle, okay? But for the majority of that match, they were really relying on Kalen Ponga, just one man. And they nearly beat the Cowboys. So, up until the last 10 minutes, it was 16-all. And they had to come up with a couple of tries from Cotter and Tommy Dearden, I think it was. to seal the victory. So they were always going to be up against it. And to the Sharkies' credit, they started really well. Don't know about your thoughts on the penalty try. I thought that was a bit of a 50-50 call. But that sort of got them on the way a little bit, the Sharkies, and they just held on.
Can't let you get away with that. 50-50 call or 51-49, Cameron.
No,
if you're in charge and you've got a bit of refereeing experience, is it a penalty try in your book?
No. I would have sin binned Cotter. I don't know how they say that Trindle gets there and scores. He's still 8 or 9 metres away from the ball. Like so many different things can happen before Trindle gets the ball in his possession and actually scores the try. I think it should have been. I think it should have been a sin bin.
Yeah, probably. But then that is the penalty try, the lesser of the evils.
Yeah, well, I actually said that in commentary, Brandy. I said I reckon North Queensland would have preferred that. Like at the time, I think most sides would say, "Listen, we'll take the 6 points and we'll keep 13 on the field." But I don't know. We've seen on several occasions over the last couple of years, like with the increase of sin binnings in our game, teams are able to hold out opposition sides in that 10-minute period with one man down, and sometimes even go and score themselves. So it's sort of we'll never know. But anyway, it doesn't matter now.
Lindsay Collins was the other player knocked out in that State of Origin game, says Ben on the text line. Now, the other question that we've thrown up today, if you had to pick the Australian team tomorrow, who would be your fullback? Edwards, Ponga, or Tedesco?
Edwards. Yep, I'd go Edwards. There's a clear decision made when Michael Maguire went with Dylan Edwards from the New South Wales side. Picked up an injury, of course, in the first game, so Teddy took that spot back and played well in a beaten side. But then, when Edwards was fit again, he took back that jersey and was able to go on and win the series for New South Wales. And I think that
he did win man of the match, didn't he, in Game 3?
He did. Yep. And so I think that needs to count for something. And I think Mowler's coach, being a guy that played a lot of State of Origin, and back in those earlier days, fellas, like Origin, it held a lot of weight as far as when it came time to pick the Australian side. The way that Origin panned out. So as New South Wales' winners this year, and Edwards playing a starring role, I think he gets the chance to do it. If there's question marks over, is it the knee that's the concern for Dylan Edwards at the moment? Is that right?
It is. Yep, knee.
If that's a concern, and he feels as though he's not going to be 100%, or something, he's going to require surgery or rest or whatever it is, Tedesco's in for me.
Okay. So Origin greater than incumbency, because we've got it's a rather unique situation if you're talking about this race and 3 between Ponga when he wasn't necessarily the first choice Queensland fullback. Well, he wasn't. Dylan Edwards did play Origin, and James Tedesco he got a look into Origin, but he had been dropped.
Yep.
But he is the incumbent Australian captain.
Yes.
So does that level things up with Mal? Well, you know Mal better than we do.
Yep. Well, the thing with Mal, like he's a very, very loyal person. But at the same time, I think he, off the back of last year's loss to New Zealand in the Pacific Championship, I think he wants to go with what is the best possible lineup for Australia.
So who's Australian captain then?
Well, if Tedesco's not there,
There's another.
Well, if Tedesco's not picked, okay, if Dylan Edwards is fit and he's picked as the fullback, Tedesco and Tedesco's not there as the incumbent, I think it goes to someone like Isaiah Yeo. It's hard to go past Isaiah Yeo. He's captained a side that's been in the last 4 grand finals.
Yeah. It'll be a great honour, won't it, Brent?
Has to be.
Closing in on the games record at Penrith.
He is. Passes Steve Carter
this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Wow, that's
most
big.
capped Penrith player in its history.
Yep.
Cameron, question for you on the text line. What is Cameron's take on the Drinkwater clash with Cotter?
Is that
exposed more? Is that heat of the moment? Was
that when Drinkwater
early in the game?
Oh, is that?
Yeah, very early in the game. Remember? That was in the opening 10 minutes of the game when Drinkwater threw a poor pass out to Murray Talangi, who then knocked it on and threw it back to Drinkwater, who wasn't looking.
That's right.
It was very messy.
Yes,
very messy.
Yeah, and Ruben went over and had a word with him, didn't he?
Correct, and he elbowed him out of the road and sort of told him to bugger off.
Yeah, right. Well, that's look. You know what, fellas? I don't read too much into that. I think that's just a little bit of frustration from Scott Drinkwater's part, and Ruben as a captain of the footy side. You know, I know Ruben Cotter quite well, and he's a pretty down to earth type of guy. And you know what? He cares about his footy side and he cares about his teammates. He would have been going out there saying just to say to Scott Drinkwater, "Hey mate, we don't need those type of passes." And then and I think Drinkwater would have known himself that he's made a blue. It wasn't the right decision to throw that ball, and he's just sort of said, "Mate, okay, I've got it. Leave me alone. Next job."
Yeah. So not a massive thing.
No way. No.
But I say not a big deal, but it's odd to see it so early in a game. Normally, mind you, it's high pressure, isn't it? It's high stakes, sudden death. Everyone. Everyone's under pressure from the opening whistle.
Yeah. Well, every single player would have been feeling pressure going into that match, like it's do or die, and they all want to go out there and perform well. There's no doubt about that. You don't want to throw an ordinary pass and put your teammate under pressure. So, I think, as I said, I think that just would have been a little bit of frustration from Drinkwater's part, and Ruben Cotter's just out there trying to say, "Hey, mate, we don't need those type of plays."
Great text from Chase Cameron, and doesn't really read your reaction, but it's probably true. Could this Kangaroo squad possibly have both Origin captains sitting out? Has that ever happened before? Well, I'd say probably not. But it's right. Jake Trbojevic, he'd be... I don't think he's in the frame for a squad. It's not like we're picking an old-fashioned Kangaroo Tour squad of 28 players or more. It's a limited squad, so Jake, I don't think makes it. And DCE, well, now that
I think
Cleary is fit, he's the incumbent.
Well, there's question marks over Nathan Cleary, right? Whether he requires surgery or whether he'll even be available for the tour. Given the significance of the shoulder injury, he dislocated or subluxed the shoulder a month ago. Like it popped out of joint and went back in quite quickly. Thankfully for Nathan, but it's. He's available for his club side. He's got 2 games to go. But, is the decision made by the club for Nathan to say, listen, I don't think it's a great idea that you play the post-season matches, internationals. So if he doesn't play, I think DCE gets a start, fellas. Like he's been in really, really good form. Like you got to acknowledge that. And he played Origin as well.
Defensive issues.
Few defensive issues, particularly the other night. But I think if Nathan's not there, I think he will get an opportunity.
DCE.
Yeah.
Yep.
DCE. Now, by the way, proud former North Devil, Cameron Smith, you need to be very happy today. Won their 3rd premiership in 4 years. On the text, hey guys, I noticed a little plagiarism in the Queensland Cup Grand Final last night. Ooh. When the North Devils won, they got on the podium and proceeded to sing the South Sydney team song, substituting Souths for Norths. Typical Queenslanders. On text 4222. When you played for the North Devils, did you play Glory, Glory to North Devils? Is that the song you sang?
No, we didn't. No.
That's a recent thing. No,
I don't know when that's been changed up. That's that's obviously a relatively new team song, club song.
Anyway, it's an act.
But well done to the mighty Devils, boys.
There's no doubt about that.
Queensland Cup champions.
Yes. Well done, good. Devils. And Spanky says, the Storm absolutely ran out to Tom Petty in the early 2000s at Olympic Park. 100%. Spanky. There we go. So probably before you started, Ken, maybe the 2001 season.
You got to remember the Storm started in 98, so 98, 99. They were in the competition for 4 or 5 seasons before I got there, so big chance.
Yep. And you changed the song.
No, I didn't change it. No.
You stepped in straight away and said, I'm changing that song. Yeah. That's rubbish. 21 and a half after 8. Breakfast with Vossy and Brandy and the GOAT, Cameron Smith. Not Cameron Smith, the one that won the share of 14 million. The Cameron Smith, the rugby league one. Just clarifying that. We're here for Bryden's lawyers. Give them a call for legal advice. 1-800-848-848.
11:70 a.m. Want to win NRL Grand Final tickets? Thanks to TR Group for your commercial truck and trailer rental and lease needs. You could enter. You could win. Enter now. iCanWin.com.au.
All Day Socks by Underworks. Comfiest ever socks. For that new sock feeling, wash after wash. Pull up your socks.
There you go. Into the nightclub we go. I was just about to mention we're about to give away, not too far away, tickets to Bathurst as well. We've got that happening all this week. Cameron, once you get off this segment, you can perhaps enter. You could ring up and try and win that prize. But now, pull up your socks for Underworks. Do you want to go somewhere outside of rugby league or not?
Yeah, I don't know.
Or do you want to
you
stick
just feel
with
sorry
rugby
for
league?
the teams? Yeah. Pull up your socks.
Can we say? I'll tell you what was a little bit disappointing was the crowd on Friday night, boys. Can I mention that?
True.
Now I know there were some factors that didn't help with the transport. The train lines were shut down. There was a strike, wasn't there, in Sydney, affecting the Shire line.
Most of the trains. Well, most of the trains were still running.
Yeah,
most were still running.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to say
just not the G train.
No, the G train. No, that's right.
Yeah, that got
canned.
Yeah,
that got canned.
It was a G bus.
Yes.
Okay. G bus.
Gal, come on, Gal, sort something out there, mate. No, I'm going to say our crowds.
So
come on,
socks,
yeah,
Gal.
let's be better. We need to be better.
Okay.
Come on.
I'm going to pull up your socks to everyone who was critical of Jared Warrior-Hargreaves' first hit up of the Roosters Seagulls game. They even questioned that he should be cited, that there should be action for the contact with Tolu Kola.
Really?
Does that mean you're meant to run with your arms in the air, hold the ball above your head so that your elbow doesn't hit?
You're entitled. You're entitled. No, Jared's allowed. He's entitled to protect himself, and it wasn't a raised forearm or elbow. Like it was down. It was down around his torso.